Hello everybody, this is Bloba coming at you with another Kindred Fates patch notes video. This time we're looking at patch 1.18 or 1.18. Have you been working out? You looking great. Get buff quick with changes to abilities like Armor Up and Sharpen. Two new passive abilities are now in effect for the little guys, and as always, enjoy a healthy serving of bug fixes. All this and some quality improvements for melee attacks and to help them feel punchier and connect more reliably. Player score has been reset. Your personal best player scores before the reset have been recorded. These potentially be displayed somewhere else in the future. Added a VFX for melee attacks, continued tuning the fill of hit pause, and continued tuning the screen shake amounts. Adjusted the hit pause duration for swipes. Characters can no longer walk out of the attack between hits, and adjustment for swipes will follow. Pretty sure this is all good from what I've heard people talking about, but I don't really use melee essentially at all, so I'm definitely not the person to ask about melee changes. Now we have two new passive abilities. I've only been able to play one game before making this patch notes video, and that was with Kadoki, but I didn't have a Mechid on my team. And Kadoki's new ability is Germinate. If the user remains motionless for a moment, they will plant their roots to slowly begin to regenerate health. Root VFX will be animated in future patch and is usable by Kadoki. I didn't exactly time it, but it feels like a little over a second if you sit there, and then it starts regenerating a very generous amount of health. It's hard to use. Like, it's not overpowered. It's honestly not even as good as Angelic Ray, but it is. Well, I think it heals more often than Angelic Ray, don't get me wrong, but it's just harder to use than Angelic Ray. But it's really nice little addition to Kadoki's kit, and I think it's just pretty good. And then Unaware. The user ignores stat changes for their opponents when dealing damage or receiving damage, usable by Mechid. This ability's structure is a little weird. It's extraordinarily situational. I mean, they buffed buffs recently, so maybe that's what they're going to kind of counter it out. But depending on how much buffing becomes part of a mecha, the meta, this ability kind of feels useless almost. Like, not completely, it's a buff. Don't get me wrong, it's not hurting mecha in any way, shape, or form. It's just very, very situational, like absurdly situational almost. With the previous meta, like I said, I haven't had time to play enough to really see how this works, but before, you'd only really ever get use out of this when you're a Mechid fighting a Mechid, because that it would make Rage like invalidated. But we'll go on to the balance changes. Armor Up. Basically every buff. I won't read every single buff's name to you for the sake of time, but every single buff has been reduced from 3 seconds to 2.25 seconds. And then Wicked Thorn. The damage has been increased from 20 to 40, and it can be cast while moving. The cast while moving actually makes me feel like I can use Wicked Thorn without being hard punished for using it. The damage, I wasn't really able to get into a situation where I could see much of a difference between the damage. I think my Wicked Thorn might have hit once or twice in the entire game I played against my opponent, so it was negligible to my usage of it for damage anyways. So I need to play more before I can really comment on that, but that does mean that you'll be doing like 120 damage, which I think is a little more than a basic attack if you hit them with all three, so you could sleep them, whirlwind them into 3 Wicked Thorns, like Inko's done to me a couple times, and then you do like a little over a basic attack worth of damage with it, which I still think that's too weak, honestly. I think that they should just completely cut the knockback, because the knockback's not really that useful, and then just buff the damage of it to make it just like a really strong ability. Or if they want to keep the knockback, I can understand that too, because that you could sleep them, do Inku's thing where you knock them into it and like a conveyor belt some, but you need to have that do probably at least as much damage as Explosion, because there's no point in sticking with a Kadoki after you put somebody to sleep right now. And this would, if you give them like that Wicked Thorns combo that takes a moderate amount of skill to pull off, it's not something you can just brain dead click a button and do. You actually have to place them in the right order, then run around, then hit him dead center with a whirlwind and send them down the line after you've put them to sleep, which all requires skill and preparation, and I think that with that, Wicked Thorn could be a cool ability. I mean, not each Wicked Thorn individually shouldn't do the damage of an explosion, I mean to say, but like collectively, after you've been hit by 3 of them, that should roughly equal out to an explosion's damage, I would say. I can't remember. It might be close right now. I know, according to the wiki, basic attacks do something like 100 damage, but I don't have the wiki open right this second, so I can't check. Bug fixes. Fixed a bug that often causes fire spin to be unreliable. The attack would often fail to knock back or damage enemies that were clearly hit by it. This fix is expected to have improved the reliability of Spore Dance as well. Fixed a bug that causes Spore Dance to hit twice in a row, instantly waking up the target if the user rapidly presses the key while being staggered. Fixed a bug that prevented characters from dying when sending Angelic Ray. And fixed a bug that caused attacks to sometimes persist between rounds. All of these are wonderful changes. Can't complain about them in any way, shape, or form. And I'm happy to see Spore Dance getting a little bit more love. I still think Spore Dance could stand to be easier to use. It's incredibly difficult to actually pull off right now, but overall, I'm happy with the changes this patch for the most part. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But until next time, this has been Bloba signing off. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Goodbye, and God bless.